There is a photograph of Denver, Colorado, taken in 1863. Denver was founded in 1858. 5 years old when this photograph was taken. In 1858, Denver was a mining camp. Tents, temporary structures. The official record describes a frontier settlement built by prospectors who arrived with almost nothing and constructed what they could from available materials. The photograph does not show a mining camp. It shows a city block of substantial multi-story brick buildings with articulated facades, regular window spacing, and decorative cornices. Buildings whose construction would require skilled tradesmen, purpose-manufactured materials, and a supply chain that the official settlement timeline cannot account for. The photograph is not disputed. It is held by the Denver Public Library. It has been dated. It is real. What it shows should not be there. And Denver is not the only city where this happens. Between 1860 and 1900, photographers documented American frontier settlements from the Mississippi to the Pacific. Their plates survive in state historical societies, university archives, and the Library of Congress. They are among the most carefully preserved visual records in American history, and in city after city, state after state, the same problem appears. The buildings in the photographs are too substantial, too refined, and too numerous for the populations and timelines the official record describes. Nobody has formally compiled the discrepancy. This investigation is a start. Before the cities, we need to establish something about photographic evidence. Photographs can be misread. A wide-angle lens compresses distance and makes buildings appear closer together and more numerous than they are. Early photographers favored the most visually impressive subjects. They would naturally photograph the grandest building on a street rather than the tents behind it. Dates on photographs are sometimes assigned by approximation rather than documentation. I am aware of all of that. What I am not doing is reading a single photograph and claiming it proves something impossible. What I am doing is comparing multiple photographs from the same city in the same decade against the documentary record census data, land grant filings, construction permits where they exist, newspaper accounts of building activity, and asking whether the two bodies of evidence are consistent with each other. In most American cities from this period, they are. In a specific and recurring subset, they are not. The discrepancy I am describing is not a matter of interpretation. It is a matter of arithmetic. If the population of a city in 1865 was 2,000 people, as the census records, and the photograph from 1865 shows 40 substantial brick buildings, the question is not whether the photograph is real. The question is, who built 40 brick buildings for 2,000 people? When? And with what labor force? That question has an official answer for most cities. For the ones in this investigation, the official answer does not compute. Street Lewis, 1,865. The Civil War has just ended. Street Lewis has a documented population of approximately 160,000, significant, a genuine city. The photographs from this period show exactly what you would expect for a city of that size and age. Substantial commercial buildings, mixed development, the visual texture of an established urban center. Street Lewis is not the anomaly. Street Lewis is the baseline. Now look west. Cheyenne, Wyoming, 1,868. Cheyenne was founded in July 1867. The Union Pacific Railroad arrived. The first permanent settlers came with it. The first permanent settlers. 13 months after founding, the 1868 photographs of Cheyenne show a main street lined with 2- and 3-story commercial buildings, brick construction on several. A hotel of sufficient scale to be named in a contemporary account as the finest between Omaha and San Francisco, a land office, a bank, a post office, all in purpose-built structures rather than converted tents or temporary timber frames. The 1,870 census records Cheyenne's population at 1,450. 1,450 people, 13 months of existence. The finest hotel between Omaha and San Francisco. The arithmetic does not work. A brick commercial building of the scale photographed in 1868 Cheyenne requires tens of thousands of bricks. Brick does not exist on the Wyoming plains. It must be manufactured elsewhere and transported. The Transcontinental Railroad was not complete until 1869. The branch serving Cheyenne in 1868 had one direction east. The official answer is that the buildings were constructed with extraordinary speed by workers brought in with the railroad. That answer requires a construction timeline from bare ground to finished multi-story brick commercial street of approximately 4 months. Leadville, Colorado, 1,879. Leadville was a silver mining boomtown. Its population growth is one of the most documented in American frontier history. We have census snapshots, newspaper accounts, and contemporaneous population estimates from multiple independent sources. In January 1879, Leadville had approximately 5,000 residents. By December 1879, photographs show a Harrison Avenue lined with substantial 2- and 3-story commercial buildings for several continuous blocks, a covered opera house, multiple hotels of significant scale, brick and stone construction throughout the commercial district. The official explanation is that Leadville's growth was explosive and its construction pace matched it. That explanation requires every building visible in the December 1879 photographs to have been designed, permitted, constructed, and finished within 11 months, simultaneously, for a population that was itself arriving and constructing shelter at the same time. The available labor force for construction in a mining town where the overwhelming economic priority was extracting silver does not support the timeline. Tombstone, Arizona, 1,881. Tombstone was established in 1879. The 1880 census records 973 residents. The 1,881 photographs show a Allen Street commercial district of continuous 2-story construction, with a theater, multiple saloons of substantial permanent construction, a courthouse, and a grand hotel whose 3-story facade appears in multiple photographs from different angles. 973 people. 2 years of existence. A 3-story hotel. His name was Camillus Sidney Fly. He was the photographer of Tombstone. His studio was on Fremont Street, directly behind the OK Corral, a fact that has made his name famous for one reason and obscure for every other reason. Fly photographed Tombstone comprehensively. Not just the gunfight, the town, the buildings, the streets, the scale of the commercial district at various points between 1,879 and 1,890. His photographs are among the most carefully studied in American frontier history, precisely because of the gunfight. Historians and researchers have examined them in detail for the physical layout of the town. Nobody has formally compared his building photographs against the construction timeline implied by the census data and founding date. I did. Fly's photographs from 1,881, 2 years after Tombstone's founding, 1 year after its population was recorded at 973, show a commercial district whose scale, construction quality, and architectural refinement are inconsistent with 2 years of frontier construction by a labor force primarily engaged in silver mining. The buildings in Fly's photographs look like they have been there longer than 2 years. Several of them look considerably older. Here is what the standard explanation offers, and where it falls short. The standard explanation for rapid frontier construction is the balloon frame, a lightweight timber construction method developed in Chicago in the 1830s that allowed buildings to be erected quickly with unskilled labor. Balloon frame construction is real, documented, and genuinely rapid. It accounts for the speed of American frontier development in ways that traditional mortise and tenon timber framing could not. That explanation works for timber frame construction. It does not explain brick. The buildings I am describing, the ones whose scale and timeline create the arithmetic problem, are not balloon frame timber structures. They are brick. Several are stone. Some show decorative stonework whose production requires skilled masons working over extended periods. Brick must be manufactured. In most frontier locations before the Transcontinental Railroad's completion, local brick manufacture was limited or non-existent. Transportation of brick by wagon over frontier distances was expensive and slow. The official record contains, in some cases, newspaper accounts of brick kilns being established near these settlements. I have read those accounts. In every case, the brick kiln was established after the date the brick buildings first appear in photographs. That is not an interpretation. That is a sequence problem. Let me put the sequence in one place. 1858. Denver founded as a mining camp. 1863. Photographs show substantial multi-story brick commercial buildings. 1865. Denver census records 4,759 residents. 1867. Cheyenne founded, July. 1868. Photographs show brick commercial street, named hotel, permanent institutional buildings. 1870. Census records 1,450 residents. 1879. Tombstone established. Leadville population, 5,000. 1,880. Tombstone census, 973 residents. 1,881. Fly photographs show continuous 2-story commercial district, 3-story hotel, permanent theater. 1,879. 1,880. Leadville photographs show complete Harrison Avenue commercial district, opera house, multiple hotels. In each case, photographs precede or accompany census documentation of populations too small to have constructed what the photographs show. In each case, the official construction timeline requires brick buildings to have been completed before local brick manufacture was established. In each case, the architectural refinement, visible in the photographs, exceeds what frontier construction economics and available skilled labor would predict. Each case is individually explainable with sufficient qualification. Together they form a pattern that the qualification cannot fully absorb. The photographs are in public archives. The Denver Public Library, the Colorado Historical Society, the Arizona Historical Society, the Library of Congress Prints and Photographs Division, the Nebraska State Historical Society, the Wyoming State Archives. Every photograph I have referenced is accessible. Most are digitized. Many are available online without institutional access. The census records are equally accessible. Ancestry.com holds digitized census data. The National Archives holds the originals. The land grant records are in the Bureau of Land Management's General Land Office records, also digitized, also searchable, also free. What has not been done is systematic. No researcher has gone through the photographic archives city by city, pulled the earliest available photographs, compared the visible construction against the census population for the same date, and mapped the discrepancies. That comparison would produce one of two results. Either the discrepancies resolve when examined closely, the brick was locally manufactured earlier than I can document, the labor force was larger than the census captured, the balloon frame explains more than I am giving it credit for. Or the discrepancies do not resolve, and the buildings in those photographs were standing before the people who were supposed to have built them arrived. The plates are in the archives. The census records are in the archives. The question is arithmetic, not interpretation. Someone needs to do the math.